Hi everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoteric, a continuing series where I review every Capcom CPS, CP System Dash, CPS2, and CPS3 game ever made, and today we're taking a look at Capcom Sports Club. It's going to be the first game in this series. Now if you're wondering where the other games are, like Alien vs Predator, check my playlist. I've already done a series on the CPS2, my 10 favorite games, so I'm not re-reviewing everything. Before you get too far involved, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like, subscribe, and that notification bell definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. But Capcom Sports Club is a really fun game, although it's definitely a game that comes alive a lot more when you have a second human player next to you. But you have basketball, you have tennis, and you have soccer. If you remember our review for 3 Wonders on the Capcom CPS, this is a very similar concept except it has 3 sports games versus 3 actual games. And starting right out in tennis, I mean, what can you really say about the game of tennis? So many different game developers have made their own version of it, and Capcom certainly made a really good version here. But honestly, your mileage is really going to vary with Capcom Sports Club, and that's the thing about reviewing everything that's ever made. I really do like this collection, but it's something that you're going to play for maybe 10 minutes maximum and put down. It's not something that you're going to spend a lot of time with, like a Street Fighter or a Darkstalker. Is really learning the moveset and getting better at the game. Once you've gotten good at this game, there's really nothing more you can do with it. But that's not to say it's not enjoyable. This is a great party game. If you have friends over and you want to pop this on, it is a ton of fun. I mean, obviously, Wii Tennis was a huge hit when the Wii came out. People like playing games like this, and Capcom definitely did a great job in making this collection. It's not their best work ever, but it is still something that has a lot of longevity and fun if you have friends over at a party. But the music's quite good too. I'm going to listen to each different segment of all 3 sports, so go ahead and take about 30 seconds worth of tennis, and I'll be back in a second and tell you about the next game. So yeah, that's tennis. This is exactly the game you know, but moving on to Kickstars, this is going to be the soccer component of Capcom Sports Club. And it is going to be a smaller version of soccer. Now, I don't know everything about the sport. Obviously, it's not as big in the US as it is in Europe, so all my European subscribers and viewers, sorry about that. I just don't know all of what soccer's going on, but I do know that there's not supposed to be 5 players per side. But of course, because it is an arcade game and it's just meant to be a fun version of soccer, these things happen. And you obviously know the goal, kick the ball into your opponent's goal. But when this game is really, really fun is when you're playing with 2 players. When you and a friend are running around and really trying to score goals on each other, the game opens up a ton. And I always wish I had a second person sitting next to me all day long making these videos, so I had a 2-player component. But obviously, against the computer, it starts out pretty easy, and then the game becomes very difficult as you go on. But it's still a really fun game to play. It's just a really quick arcade experience. And that's what this game was meant for in arcades. You pop a couple quarters in, you get a few credits, you play really quickly, and then maybe you go on about your day, you play something different. This is a nice palate cleanser in between, you know, really long sessions of Street Fighter or Darkstalkers, things like that. And there was always a need for these in arcades because, you know, sometimes kids just wanted to play something for 1 to 2 minutes and then kind of move on to check something else out. I have no idea if these games are successful for Capcom because they did like making these compilations, but it's just still a fun game. I mean, you can't go wrong with this. And like I said, with more than 1 player, these become a ton of fun. But you'll see I was easily able to get through the first round, and the second round is going to be much harder. But go ahead and listen to the music because I do love kind of the seasonal flair they give to it. Depending on where you're playing, the music sounds like that region. So listen for 30 to 45 seconds and I'll come back and tell you about basketball.
Gotcha! Chico! Chico!
and I ended up losing that match. And I will say that this game becomes much more difficult on normal difficulty after you get through the first qualifying match in any of the sports. Then the game says, no, you need to put in more quarters if you want to keep playing. I would say the basketball game is my favorite game on this collection, but honestly, I would rather just play NBA Jam than this game. I mean, it's a lot of fun, and again, if you're playing with 2 players, it definitely opens up and becomes much more livelier. But the thing about all these games is, if you want to play a tennis game, just play Virtua Tennis from Sega. If you want to play a soccer game, Konami's got you covered. If you want to play a good arcade basketball game, you have NBA Jam. So while Capcom's covered all 3 genres of sports here in the collection, I would say that individually, different arcade game makers have done a better job in that individual sport. Because this is fun and it has some similarities to NBA Jam, but it doesn't have the same flair as a game like that would. So do I recommend playing this game? I mean, by all means, play it. It is a lot of fun, especially if you played everything else and you want to check something out new. Or if you have some friends over and you pop this on your MiSTer, or if you have an original board, however you play it, it's going to be a great time. I am playing this on the MiSTer FPGA from the Jotego cores, and it runs absolutely perfectly. So if that's the way you want to play it, load it up and have a little bit of a gameplay session when you have friends over, crack a few beers. It's going to be a really good time. Against the CPU, it's fine. But what I'm going to let you do is just listen to a little bit of the music here, because I think the best part about this game is the music. I do love these kind of hyper-animated faces of the basketball players. They look quite goofy and it definitely fits. But I would say my favorite part of the entire experience is the music. So go ahead and enjoy it for about 20 seconds and I'll come back, close out the video, and tell you what else we have coming up on the CPS2 series. But enjoy. So yeah, that is Capcom Sports Club. It's got 3 different games on it, and honestly, there's probably better versions of each individual game if you look harder in the arcade sphere. But if I'm going to review everything, that means I'm talking about everything. And while this game isn't the best in the world, it certainly isn't bad. But we're going to be having every other Capcom CPS2 game ever made that I already haven't reviewed on my CPS2 series 2 years ago on the channel coming up. Now, I did CPS alphabetically, but I'll probably be mixing up the CPS2 stuff because there's so many fighting games on the platform. I don't want to show you 4 Street Fighters in a row or 3 Darkstalkers in a row. So I will be mixing this up, not alphabetically, by genre. Short of that, if you have any questions or comments, I'll leave them down below. Love chatting with you guys. If you ever played this game before, and if so, tell me what you think. But I will have videos throughout the week as well, but I'll be back next Wednesday with another episode in our Capcom CPS review series. Bye-bye.